guys. I made it. Hi, baby. All right. Hold on here. There we go. How's everybody doing? Sorry. There we go. I knew it. Should have shut my mouth this morning. How's everybody doing? All right. Let's see. Shut this off. There. So, I am here to talk about something that you are not going to hear about right now. Because I'm sure everybody's heard about the Pelosi attack, which is kind of funny because it's like 9 days before the election. Okay. And yeah, I feel like this is just another trick. So I'm about to tell you why they're doing it. Because the Democrats are hiding something right now that they don't want you to talk about at all. Not before the election, not before the presidential election, not between now and then, not enough. They'd rather you think that Paul Pelosi was having a gay fling that went wrong and ended up pounded in the head with a hammer and talk all day long about that because they can wrap that up and say conspiracy theory when this whole thing is going on. So let me bring you all back to 2015, 2016. Very volatile election. As a gay woman, I found my friends, my family, my children, all of us were being divided by the rhetoric. I noticed it everywhere. As a gay woman, I felt like I had to hide who I was voting for. Now, I don't support the LGBTQ. I don't support the BLM as the BLM corporate $90 million Robin MFers, but I do support that all lives matter. Black lives matter, white lives matter, Chinese lives matter, Puerto Rican lives matter, Hispanic lives matter. Don't let me go on. So, same thing with the LGBT. I support, obviously, to be able to have a gay lifestyle and not. I don't want to be treated any different than a heterosexual couple. However, I'm not going to put all my feelings in the video. I'm a conservative, put it that way. My wife is a conservative. We are a conservative couple who has felt the wrath since 2015. And in 2015, I was deep into YouTube, deep. The Kanika case came up in 2016, 2017. So I had been big into YouTube, but again, afraid to talk about my feelings. Didn't ever come out about who I was voting for. Did a lot of things about Bernie Sanders, thinking that would put me in the middle so I could not be with the Democrats. I could still be going against them, but I could be not seen as a Republican and attacked every time I got on the internet. And at the very same time, there was a man named Seth Rich working for the Democratic National Committee, the DNC. Very powerful entity that does all the fundraising and the committees of the Democratic Party. At the time, there was a hack. There was a hack in the. Well, first of all, let me step back 1 second. Hillary Clinton's emails are probably what you remember about the 2016 election, right or wrong. One of the biggest things other than Trump. You remember Hillary Clinton's emails because that's one of the very first things that she blamed as the reason why she lost. She eventually let that one go because I think people who she worked with told her to stop talking about her emails and that that the less she talked about her emails, the less we would talk about her emails. But in 2016, a man named Seth Rich, he was a Bernie Sanders supporter. And he was he was also working on getting the people registered to vote. as well as dealing with election tampering, how mail-in ballots and issues like that. Things that Democrats keep quiet. They don't want you to hear about. Those aren't a problem. We keep that quiet. Seth Rich was a data engineer. There was only a couple of them. That means Seth Rich had the thumb drive. When I tell you what the thumb drive was the power to enter the Democrat National Committee's computers and see what they were fundraising on, who they were fundraising from for real, and to catch things like money laundering and illegal election, you donating illegally, because there's limits on your donating, but there's other ways to donate if you're a rich person trying to donate more than you are allowed to donate because you want that person to win. So there's ways to do that. Seth Rich worked in the one place that you could catch that in the whole party. But that meant he had to have been trusted enough with the information along the way. He had to have earned that thumb drive. There's only a few people who had access to that information. And that information was stolen. And it was stolen, and it was proven by an outside investigative agency that stepped into. We'll talk about them another time. But an agency that investigated the computer and found that all of the information off the DNC computers was stolen and put onto a thumb drive and taken out of the building. What happened with that thumb drive? Well, at the same time WikiLeaks was coming out and Julian Assange was talking about something big was going to happen. Big. Something big is going to go down with Hillary Clinton he knew because he had an insider at the same time giving him access to Hillary Clinton's emails that were deleted, and when she had a subpoena to not delete her emails from the State Department, and she did. Well, those emails ended up in WikiLeaks' hands. Julian Assange at the time was running WikiLeaks, and he came out before the election. Remember that. Before the election, stating Hillary Clinton was going to have huge problems because of something he had coming up, and he was formulating it so that you could get on the site and just go through everything. And as a respectable journalist, he was doing the right editing, blocking out names, numbers, addresses, anything private information, which is, I guess, if you're a journalist and you're getting stolen information, what the CIA and FBI would like you to do is to break down that information and protect the people's identities who are in that information. So he did that. Well, we learn along the way that a journalist a guy named Seth Rich meets with a journalist in a park, and a thumb drive is handed off. This is in March 25th or March 2016. A thumb drive is handed off to a man in a park so that man can take it to WikiLeaks to be analyzed, broken down, and leaked out, hopefully before the election. And that is what his name, Seth Rich gave that thumb drive in hopes of stopping Bernie Sanders from having the election stolen from him. That was his reasoning for doing it. And he risked his life for that. And what would come is that his life was taken from him. A few short weeks later, he was 4 a.m. walking home. He was on the phone with his girlfriend, telling her I'd be there. I'm 3 blocks away, 4 blocks away, whatever. And he was shot dead while crossing the street. The shot spotter went off and detected that there was shooting, gunshots, so the police were sent out immediately. But they didn't get there in time. By the time they got there, he was in death breathing, agonal breathing. Good morning, Julianne. Sorry. And he couldn't give them any information. However, what happened next was what the real story is, because they tried to erase Seth Rich. They tried to erase Seth Rich's existence. That what didn't work for the Democratic Party. But we had to come out and we had proof. But they were telling us, don't believe what you see with your eyes, believe what we're telling you. So, he was shot in May, and it came out early in June. They believed that the reason for the shooting was a robbery. A robbery. This man had a brand new iPhone, a $4,000 chain, $2,000 in cash in his wallet. None of that was taken. Oh, excuse me, and a $5,000 watch on his wrist. None of it was taken. Robbery gone wrong, they said? No. He was shot from behind. It was assassination. The same night, a couple blocks away, an FBI vehicle, an FBI federal vehicle that's loaned out to FBI agents, was broken into. And what was broken into was the secure gun case where the FBI guns were kept, that this agent's guns were kept. So someone broke into a locked FBI car. It didn't have a security system that went off. They had time to steal the gun case, locked, break into that. And believe it or not, the same caliber weapons were used. The caliber weapon was used in Seth Rich's shooting that night, 4 hours later. When Seth Rich arrived at the hospital, they said he was still alive. Doctors have come out. People who were there in the emergency room that night have come out and have made statements. And none of them have made statements that gave us any clues about who the person who killed him was, if he knew, if he had any feelings about what happened to him. It seemed like he was just in the throes of death, and then he died. Okay, now we're caught up. So the FBI confiscates Seth Rich's computer. Oh, by the way, Seth Rich has a brother named Eric who works for a military industrial complex company that I can't remember the name of right now off the top of my head. Just give me a minute. I'll look it up while we're talking. Anyway, so there you go. I can't do two things at once. Sorry. Not possible. I want to say it's, what does it start with? Because he does a lot of stuff, Eric Smith does, but he works for not DARPA. I'd have to spend some time going through the Rich stuff again to find out where Eric is working today. But anyway, he worked for Raytheon, something like Raytheon. Okay, so he had a powerful position in government too, as well as his brother. And stories have come out that him and his brother were both involved in the hack, and that's why things have gone down the way they have since. So then, let me tell you what happens. The FBI goes and confiscates the computer and another phone from the brother. Okay, in the family, the mother, the brother, the father, whatever. The father and the mother are in complete denial that their son hacked the DNC computers and gave this thumb drive to WikiLeaks and caused Trump to become president. That's what they don't want. They don't want their son's legacy to be, he hacked the DNC, and that's why Trump and the emails were released, because his hack didn't have anything to do with those emails. Someone else had already given those emails to WikiLeaks. previously, which is why Julian Assange was talking about them in 2015. What Seth Rich gave was information about fundraising at the DNC and information about election tampering. Facts, proof. He had it downloaded straight from their computers, and he gave it to WikiLeaks. Okay, now here we go. Let's start talking about some other stuff here. So, what happened to that lab? Oh, yeah, am I up yet? Hang on a second. Let me make sure it all works here. Why isn't it letting me do it? Picture relate shift 7. Hell. Come on, Spotify. Come on. StreamYards. It's not going to let me show you guys anything this morning. Like, what's going on? There we go. Share screen. Entire screen. Share. Hang on, guys. Sorry about that. Okay. Put it down here. Like that. Okay. Let's do this. Okay, so that laptop. What happened to that laptop? We wanted to know because we wanted. Let me just break one time and tell you before I get into this. Julian Assange came out in a interview that was being done between the time Seth Rich had died and between the time, this was about June or July of 2016, very volatile time in the election. Julian Assange comes out and says, I will pay $10,000 for information leading to the arrest of the person who shot and killed DNC worker Seth Rich on his way home, blah, blah, blah. This man was, had a love for his country. So Julian Assange didn't say why, or maybe he didn't even say Seth's name. He just said a young man from the DNC. Either way, it blew up. It blew up everything. Why? Why does Julian Assange, this is the first time come on, you guys, he had Bradley Manning, now Chelsea Manning. He had that information released to him. Like, that's how famous WikiLeaks and Julian Assange is. Okay? So why would he come out and have a reward, a $10,000 reward for information on a lonely DNC worker's death? What does he want? Why does he care? Because he knew what Seth did to get that thumb drive to him and how important it was, and that he was killed because of it, and he can't say anything because he knows how the system works. So, where's Julian Assange today? Well, he's 2.5 years beyond his sentence, still in the prison in London. Yes, I said it. His sentence ended 2.5 years ago and has not been released because we, the United States, are trying to extradite him back here so that we can slap charges on him here that will put him in prison for the rest of his life. Although every journalist out there has taken stolen information. That's how you get your breaking stories. Hello? No one's saying anything. No one's talking about it. And everyone right now is turning the other way, looking at the Paul Pelosi attack. What is going on? Well, right now in court, the FBI is asking the court for 66 years to seal what they found on Seth Rich's laptop so that before it is released to us, the public. After they originally denied they even had it, they put in a slip stating they lost the laptop. That's what they told us. It was stolen out of a bicycle. That's what they said originally. That's how asinine that sounds. I remember how fucking mad. I wasn't getting monetized anyway. I tried to do this yesterday, and all day YouTube refused to monetize me. So this morning I just went live without getting even monetized. Greetings, phenomenal mommy. Sorry, I'm trying to do there. I gotta put this in front of me. Hang on. There we go. Put it right here where I can see it. So let's talk about this. What I got in front of me right here. Seth Rich. This is let me get my fat face off the screen. Hold on. Is it better? Yeah. Let's see if it does it. All right. Hang on a second. There. Okay. Shit. I forgot I gotta do this too. Hold on. Oh, it is sharing my screen. Okay. So here's Seth Rich in the FBI. Oh, shoot. That's him in the American flag clothes. He was definitely a patriot. There's no denying that, but he was also a Democrat. So it's funny that the American flag has been turned into a Trump thing. Shadow banned for a while. Yes, I know it, honey, since Kanika. Since Kanika, I have been shadow banned. Girl, you don't even know how bad they fucking hate me. I just got monetized this year, and I'd say 5 out of 10 videos are automatically demonetized, even if I don't swear. Anyway, I'm looking at my phone, and you're up here, and I'm over. See, this is what happens when I put this phone here. I don't look at the button up there. Okay, huge development. September, the U.S. District Judge for the Eastern District of Texas ordered the FBI to produce the information it possesses related to Seth Rich's laptop. In our previous reporting, the Gateway pundit Joe Hoft, who's been on this case since day one, reported on the FBI's refusal to release documents on Seth Rich. To this day, we still don't have good information on his murder. He was shot in the back twice in the early morning near his home, died later in the hospital, and the police recorded the event as a robbery. Yet Rich's phone, wallet, and personal items were with him when the police arrived. Some people suspect Rich was the source of emails that went to WikiLeaks before 2016 election, related to Hillary and her corrupt actions over many years. These emails were ignored by the corrupt mainstream media, but shared by WikiLeaks on social media. The left blamed WikiLeaks as one reason why Hillary Clinton lost to President Trump. A short time after Seth Rich's death, the Russia collusion story was created, and it also suspected in circles that the Russia collusion story was created to keep eyes off Seth Rich's murder. The FBI denied possessing any information or files related to Seth Rich murder, to the Seth Rich murder. But that was not true. And eventually the information was discovered, and the FBI was forced to admit they were holding information on Seth Rich. But why? Why? What are they hiding? Why won't they turn the information over? Ty Clevenger of LawFlog reported earlier this month that the FBI is stalling on the release of the documents. It says, yesterday, the government asked for more time to respond to Judge Amos Mazant's September 29th, 2022 order directing the FBI to produce all records. Here we go. I see CrowdStrike's name coming up. Okay, so all records related to Seth Rich's laptop. Somewhat relatedly, the FBI was withholding 3 reports produced by CrowdStrike. A Russian. It's run by an ex-CIA agent, and it's got a ton of Russian people. Anyway, CrowdStrike is the one that produced the report saying that the information was stolen off the computer with the thumb drive. But they blamed it on Russia. They were the reason that the Democrats had a Russia collusion story. The order itself is straightforward, at least with respect to Seth's personal laptop, because it directs the FBI to produce the information it possesses in Seth Rich's laptop and responsive to the FOIA request within 14 days of this order. On the other hand, the order does not discuss Seth Rich's work laptop, which, by the way, they also in possession of, but they claim they lost it. That's the one that they claim was stolen. Yes, mommy, you're so right. Oh my gosh. And the thing is I don't even do it in a bad way. I just do it in a way so people are aware of what's going on. Because sometimes when you're not aware of what's going on, you don't get a choice to care. And now, like, I feel like I was given a choice to care. So that's why I step out and speak, whether they give me money or not. They make money off every video I make, best believe it. Whether I got 8 people watching right now or not, and I used to have 10,000, well, guess what? I'll at least get another 100, 200, 600, 700 watch the video and replay over time. So, and they will make every cent for it, and they know it. So they can shadow ban me and they can do all that, but they're still going to make something off of me, off my back. I just won't make anything, and that's fine. I make the feeling inside me settle down because I know that I'm aware and I've made at least 1, 2, or 8 other people aware today. That's all. So anyway, the laptop. The FBI wants 2 more weeks so it can prepare a motion for reconsideration. Okay. As a courtesy, they said, we have not objected to this request. According to the government's motion, the FBI is uncertain how to comply with the court's order as written, and the FBI is seeking input from a pending appellate consultation regarding the order to properly address this issue. I don't get it because the order itself is pretty straightforward. It says, at least with respect to Seth Rich's personal laptop, because it directs the FBI to produce the order in 14 days. On the other hand, the order doesn't discuss his work laptop. It says, I'm waiting for the FBI to explain what it thinks it needs to be clarified. Then I may be filing my own motion for clarification. Meanwhile, FBI has cited only one narrow basis for withholding records related to the laptop, namely his privacy. Are you kidding me? The FBI, who cares about no one's privacy? They will wiretap your home, your phone, that will sit outside your house and videotape. The people who care the least about your privacy, that pay Verizon and AT&T for phone information about certain numbers so that they can find out who you're talking to without a subpoena. In any event, it says, I'm reminded of something that I learned almost 30 years ago when I was a newspaper reporter. People with nothing to hide don't try to hide nothing. So now this. On Friday, Christopher Wray, head of the FBI, asked for 66 years before releasing any information on the Seth Rich investigation. What are they hiding? The Epoch Times has reported a U.S. court the FBI is asking a U.S. court to reverse its order that it produced information from Seth Rich's laptop computer. If the court does not, the Bureau then wants 66 years in order to produce the information. Rich was a DNC staffer when he was killed on a street in Washington mid-2016. No one has ever been arrested in connection to that murder. And U.S. District Judge Amos Mazan, an Obama appointee, ruled in September that the Bureau must hand over the information from the computer to Brian Huddleston, a Texas man who filed the FOIA request for the information. The FBI's assertion that the privacy interest Rich's family members hold outweighs the public interest was rejected by Mazan. Gratefully, thank you, who noted our Bureau cited no relevant case law supporting the argument. All right, next, real quick. Let me see. Here we go. This was the one I got excited all about because the court order had just come out to produce these documents, and I was so happy. I almost did a video that day, but I was waiting because I said, no, I'm not going to tease everybody. Here, hang on. Go to the next one. Oops. So it says, now this is afterwards. This is 2 weeks after they were ordered. Look at her. This was 2 weeks after they were ordered to turn over documents. Okay. It says, for some reason, they're refusing the request. Why is that? So it says basically the same thing I just told you. This is just letting us know that they're refusing the request, but making no reason why. Excuse me. I guess I do have a lot of them here of the same one. I'm just trying to see if any of them switch the information, because a lot of times the mainstream, somebody who's riding with the mainstream narrative, their stuff says different stuff. This one I like because it says pointedly the FBI cites to no case law. I mean, when you try to not follow order by the court, it's because you found case law that defends your reasoning for that. Like you actually have a case where the same situation happened and that person was given given a decision, and this is what it was. No case law was involved in this. So let me tell you how often the government does this shit, because it happens more than you'll ever believe. But right now, this whole thing with Pelosi, as I said again, is just a distraction. Sorry, I had to blow my nose. Couldn't do it. Couldn't take it anymore. Talking like a Pee Wee Herman guy. So let's see. Here we go. Let's talk about this. How often does this happen? Well, Biden. National Archives sued, Biden and the National Archives are sued over unreleased JFK assassination records, which, as a Trump supporter, I kind of laugh about, because Trump actually on the election trail, campaign trail, this was one of his big things. I'm going to release all the JFK records. It's time, because it had been like 27 years that they had been locked up. So here we go. But Trump didn't do it. Trump only released some records and he kept some locked up. So here's a new lawsuit seeking to force the Biden administration and National Archives to release all the remaining government documents about President JFK's assassination. Why it matters? The lawsuit filed by them is the last attempt to make public a trove. It's the latest attempt to make public a trove of records related to JFK's murder, which is the subject of conspiracy. Kind of like Seth. Details. The lawsuit argues that the government hasn't followed through with President JFK Assassination Record Collection Act of 92, which Congress passed without dissent in hopes of making the records public by 2017. Foundation wants a judge to void Biden's decision from last year to delay them. And the suit also alleges that the federal government redacted records involving CIA, Cuban dictator Fidel Castro, and the alleged JFK shooter Lee Harvey Oswald, and more. The foundation also called on the National Archives to find records known to exist but that are not part of the JFK collection. When the CIA is hiding in the operational interest of senior CIA officials and Lee Harvey Oswald, what the CIA is hiding. While President Kennedy was still alive, Jefferson Morley, vice president of the nonpartisan, meaning that he has no side, he's not on either side, nonpartisan Mary Farrell Foundation told Axios in a phone interview on Wednesday. What the CIA is hiding is operational interests. Yeah, remember that. Flashback. In 2021, October, the White House postponed the release of what? 16,000 documents tied to Kennedy's death. And they used the COVID-19 pandemic. Yes, Trump used the COVID-19 pandemic to not finish releasing the records. I admitted that before I read this to you. In the memo, President Biden called on the National Archives to conduct a 1-year review, blah, 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 except strongest possible reasons counsel otherwise. Says that the U.S. can disclose all details of the incident except when the strongest possible reasons counsel otherwise. So basically, everything we've been waiting for are the strongest possible reasons otherwise, because that's what we've been trying to figure out. That's the conspiracy theory. Biden released 1,500 documents relating to JFK's death last December. Trump extended the deadline to release the files in 2018, citing national security. But about 19,000 documents tied to the assassination were released at the same time. What they're saying, if you don't have nothing to hide, then don't hide nothing, Morley. Boy, we're hearing that a lot today, aren't we, involving these things? It says NARA made its recommendations to Biden, and the results of those reviews will be made public in December. Blah, blah, blah. White House had no response for Axios' comment. And it says Morley told Axios that the 16,000 documents were yet to be released were among the most sensitive. No, they were not. They were a bunch of bullshit. And are they doing it to us right freaking now? Hang on, where is it? First of all, they did it with this. They did it with the 9/11. They did it with JFK. Yes, the world used the pandemic, mommy. You know it. Anyway, they did it with 9/11. They did it with JFK. They're doing it with Seth Rich. Here is the 9/11. The families were trying to get the records so they could figure out what happened to their family members during this attack. And let me tell you, the government was their biggest obstacle to getting those records. Funding of the 9/11 attacks, all the way to pilots and arrive in the U.S., the knife purchases, Hawassi credit card statements, all the way on to the ongoing investigation. Okay, they were asking for specific documents on 9/11. No, this is a trial to try to keep them secret for privacy reasons. Due to privacy reasons, more than 1,000 pages of classified records will be withheld from public viewing. How long? Forever. There's no statement on here with a date. There's no time release for this. And the 28 pages that they did let out, and it was such a big, huge deal, were so freaking redacted. They were nothing. Next. Oh, we'll go back to that. Hold on. That's not it. I was looking for hang on. Right here. Right? Yes. We talk about COVID. Here we go. We'll talk about COVID. The FDA asked a judge to give them until 2076 to fully release Pfizer's COVID vaccine data. That's right. They don't have to. Pfizer does not, or the FDA, which found, which had all the information to testing and incidents they had, and vaccine injuries and all that. Boy, I'm definitely not getting monetized now. It may take the U.S. Food and Drug Administration 55 years to release all the documents it used to declare COVID vaccine safe. And says, despite promising the world full transparency, the FDA has asked a federal judge until we'll all be dead by then. We'll all be dead. You and I and our kids, maybe even at that point, will no longer exist. And so it'll be our grandkids that find out about what was in the COVID vaccine. The grandkids that the government is now forcing to take the vaccine in order to go to a public school system. Ain't that great? Ain't that great? This government uses this every time they are hiding something. And I'm over it. And I'm not going to let them keep using this for Seth Rich. Seth Rich was a martyr. He stepped up and he did so he gave up his job. They found him out. They knew it was him. Only a few people had access to that computer and had that thumb drive, to be able to do that. It was given to them. That's given to them by the Democratic National Committee, so they know it when it gets used and by who it gets used, because it's like a key that's assigned to you. I am not going to continue to look the other way while the government says it's going to take them 66 freaking years to release what was on his computer. It's bullshit. because that's what they want us to do. And right now they're asking you to give them 55 years to look the other way about kids and everyone getting injured by a Pfizer vaccine. Just Pfizer. That's not even all the other ones that made the vaccine. This is just one company. One company is getting to hide their data. Nobody else has even asked yet. So everybody that gets FOIA requested is going to file a lawsuit. Mark my words. There will be lawsuits and cases to redact or not release vaccine information from all of the vaccine manufacturers at some point. It will happen. All right, real quick. I need to show you something I found.
Donald Trump has had a disastrous few weeks. If you look at the polls, he needs...
Stop. A minute ago, when I was talking about Julian Assange from WikiLeaks and the reward he had for Seth Rich, I didn't know I had this up. I wrapped up his interview about the reward in my own words, and I have it right here. It's only 2 minutes, and I think it's very important to show you the actual interview that Julian Assange had and what he said to make the world know I'm talking about Seth Rich without saying Seth Rich's name. This was huge. We knew it. The media knew it, and that's why they started messing with him when he was in the embassy for 7 years already, hiding in the embassy for 7 years, because he released the documents on the Iraq war, and they wanted to kill him for that. So he had to get asylum in the Ecuadorian embassy and live in a fucking office for 7 years, never leaving, going nowhere, because if he stepped out, he'd be arrested. Yeah. Well, they dragged him out of there. And then they took him to the fucking jail, and they locked him up for some shit for bail jumping in Sweden. That was how they got him out of the embassy and back in their power. And from that point on, he got sentenced. He finished his sentence, and they refused to release him. He has not been released, and no one is saying anything. What if you got sentenced to a DWI for 7 months, and you're counting the days on your wall every day, and 7 months came along, and you looked at the wall, and you looked at the door, and all you could think about was walking out that fucking door. Nothing else mattered more than walking out that door. And someone comes and tells you, I know your sentence is over and all, but we ain't letting you leave. Damn it. Hang on, I got to get rid of these real quick. Give me 1 second. I just got to remove these. I'm sorry. I don't want these on my comment. Damn it. Okay. No, I want them gone, but hang on. I don't care if she's in timeout. I want these gone because she's not even here. She just stepped in, dropped these messages, and moved because that's what they do. I want them gone. Why won't they be? I can't get them removed. All right. I guess I'm just going to leave it alone until it's out of timeout. All right. So here, listen.
A miracle. In the American political lexicon, there's such a... Trump has had a disastrous few weeks. If you look at the polls, he needs a miracle. In the American political lexicon, there's such a thing as the October surprise. The stuff that you're sitting on, is an October surprise in there? Do you even know what you're sitting on?
WikiLeaks never sits on material. Whistleblowers go to significant efforts to get us material, and often very significant risks. As a 27-year-old works for the DNC, who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington. So
that was just...
Okay, before I go on, with what he just said, could you not figure out who that was? Could you not Google DNC worker murder, shot and back in Washington 2 weeks ago, right? So you can figure out that it was Seth Rich he was talking about without him saying Seth Rich. Now listen.
It's a robbery, I believe, wasn't it?
No, there's no finding. So
what are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that our sources take risks, and they become concerned to see things occurring like that.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
we don't comment on who our sources
but
are.
Why make the suggestion about a young guy being shot in the streets of Washington?
Because we have to understand how high the stakes are in the United States, and that our sources.
I'm sorry. This isn't. I don't believe this is the reward interview. I believe this is the interview where he leaked about Julian or about Seth Rich. There's another clip where he does a reward on Instagram. If you need it, I'll find it. But here, I'll finish this.
Investigating to understand what happened in that situation with Seth Rich. I think it is a concerning situation. There's not a conclusion yet. We wouldn't be willing to state a conclusion, but we are concerned about it. And more importantly, a variety of WikiLeaks sources are concerned when that kind of thing happens.
All right, so hold up. Okay. Seth Rich murder and DNC leak by Admiral James A. Lyons retracted by. Why did I keep this? Okay, so this is an analysis opinion about the FBI and the DOJ. Okay, so about this case, I want to read this to you. It's very important. With the clearly unethical and most likely criminal behavior of the upper management levels of the DOJ and the FBI exposed by Chairman Devin Nunes of the House Intelligence Committee, there are two complementary areas that have been conveniently swept under the rug. The first deals with the murder of a DNC staffer, Seth Rich, and the second deals with the alleged hacking of the DNC server by purportedly Russia. I put the purportedly in there because it is purportedly. It was, you know what I mean? It was purportedly. Hi, Frank and Beans. But do not hold your breath. So, sorry, both should be of prime interest to Robert Mueller. But yes, of course, we know now by the Mueller report, he did nothing. Again, as it states, Mr. Rich was not a victim of robbery, which Metro Police are claiming, because he was still wearing his $2,000 gold necklace and watch, still had a wallet full of money, his keys to his house and car, and a brand new phone. He was clearly not a victim of robbery. Another aspect that needs to be uncovered is the FBI's denial that cyber experts who share space with DC Metro Police Department at the Cleveland Avenue District assisted in assessing data on Mr. Rich's laptop. Not likely. Data on the laptop revealed to Mr. Rich downloaded thousands of DNC emails and was in touch with WikiLeaks. The file with evidence of what was on Mr. Rich's laptop sits with the FBI in a co-shared space with the DC Police Department, according to Ed Butowski, an acquaintance of the family. He's also a conservative pundit type kind of. He's a lawyer. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that right now. He's got money. That's all. So that's why his name's in here. Joel and Mary Rich have confirmed. He had discussions with Joel and Mary Rich. They confirmed that their son did transmit the emails to WikiLeaks. Finally, they denied it for a very long time. Since then, the DNC hired a spokesperson named Brad Berman, a known hatchet man, to basically cut off any communication with Seth Rich's parents. That's why I couldn't find it, because his brother's name's Aaron, not Eric. Anyway, it says, here we go. Interestingly, it is a well-known fact in intelligence circles that Seth Rich and his brother Aaron downloaded the DNC emails and was paid by WikiLeaks for that information. While WikiLeaks does not expose its sources, Julian gave a clear clue during a Dutch television interview where he implied Mr. Rich was killed because he was the WikiLeaks source of the DNC emails, which... Anyway, Sir Assange offered a $20,000, I thought it was 10, reward leading to the arrest of Mr. Rich's killers. Also, why has the Aaron Rich been interviewed, and where is he? Aaron Rich has been interviewed, just they don't want us near Aaron because he works for the government for a military industrial complex. So anyway, guys, that's it. Hang on, we're going to keep going. Seth Rich and 4 others were killed within 6 weeks of each other. This is very important. You guys need to pay attention to this because it wasn't just Seth Rich. This was the summer of the Democrats killing off all their loose ends that they had from being cocky for the 8 years of Obama. They thought that 8 years of Obama was going to secure them 4 years of Hillary. And when they realized it wasn't, they had to start killing people off because they didn't have time to clean up. Clean up takes time. Clean up takes a year, 2 years. No, they had to start just knocking people out. Now, listen. Seth Rich and 4 men, all tied to Hillary Clinton, mysteriously died within 4 weeks of each other. Seth Rich was said at least, Seth Rich was a 27-year-old DNC staffer and a Bernie Sanders supporter. He got wise to the shenanigans of the DNC as they worked to rob the nomination from Bernie so Hillary would get it. And so Seth got mad and sent the 20 to 40,000 emails with 13,000 attachments to WikiLeaks. He didn't send them to him. He had a thumb drive. That's always said wrong. There was no sent. This was not an internet hack because it would have it had the speed of it was so fast, and it couldn't have been an internet hack. It had to have been a thumb drive device, it said. Anyway, a few weeks before the election, he was walking home to his girlfriend's apartment at 4 a.m. in a nice section of D.C. and was shot twice in the back. The police defined it as a botched robbery, although everything I told you he had on him. But the mainstream media is pushing invalidated, unsubstantiated, crazy conspiratorial stories about Trump colluding with Russia to win the election, but liberal media won't touch a story about a former DNC staffer gunned down in Washington last year. Democrats and their media continue to push a false tale that Trump worked with Russia. There's no evidence. Okay, I'm just going to skip through all this because I want to get to everything that's important. But, I mean, it really is all important. So Democrats and the MSM have argued Trump somehow supplied the DNC emails to WikiLeaks, and then that impacted the election and gave Trump the victory. This is false. For example, the DNC emails were released by WikiLeaks before the election, for the most part. But the mainstream media ignored them and told you that if you got on and tried to get them, it was illegal and that you would be arrested. That's what CNN said. So anyway, also the emails contained information that showed unethical, if not criminal, CP criminal type shit going on with actions with John Podesta and Hillary Clinton. That's where the whole Pizzagate stuff came from, guys. The info that people came up with Pizzagate all started from John Podesta's dirty, nasty emails. An example, one of his emails sent out to Podesta said the leaker must be made an example. This is a different one. This is just what he said. They caught an email from John Podesta saying whoever leaked this must be made an example of. That's when they found out about the DNC leak. That leak was by Seth Rich. And believe me, they made an example of him, didn't they? The WikiLeaks email revealed Podesta and Robbie Mook concocted the Trump-Russia story before the election and released it within 1 day of Hillary losing. In a groundbreaking report, it was discovered that Donna Brazile, the lady who gave Hillary Clinton her questions for the debate, before the debate, illegally, her high-ranking DNC rep tried to put an end to the Seth Rich investigation. She allegedly called the private investigator handling the case and accused him of snooping and demanded to know why the investigation was still happening. This high-ranking DNC official that called the police after I inquired about Rich's case was Donna Brazile. Veteran homicide detective Rod Wheeler told WND, "Why shouldn't I reveal who it was?" A spokesman for the Rich family has repeatedly criticized Detective Wheeler, who was hired by the Rich's family in March to find the DNC staffer's murderer, for not ruling out the possibility that Rich may have leaked the DNC emails to WikiLeaks. The family the family was denying it at the time, and they wanted everybody to stop investigating because they were getting blamed for Trump being the president. Can you imagine that? Your whole family turns on you because your son leaked emails that caused the great Hillary Clinton to lose. Acting spokesperson for the family of the late staffer suspected the source Seth Rich, or the WikiLeaks source Seth Rich, is a man named Brad Bauman, who happens to be directly connected to Media Matters, and a George Soros-backed propagandist, David Brock. Disobedient Media has reported that Brock and his affiliated organizations have ties to the Chinese government, foreign special interests, and organized crime. Brock's ties to foreign interests may mean that he is in violation of the FARA Act. His organizations have been active in harassing and attacking journalists looking into the Seth Rich story. I will get attacked for doing this. Oh, you know it, Franken Beans. You know it. I spent weeks going through all that. And I go back to it still and find new stuff. To this day, there was so much. Oh my God. There was so much stuff there that once you knew what code they were talking in, it was like it flipped the switch on in your head and the light was finally showing on the bad people, and bad people was them. They were the ones that was the monster in my closet type shit. You know, you got that right. Anyway, so it says, following Sean Hannity's embarrassing buckling on coverage of the Seth Rich case, which he came out all strong on, and then as soon as he got fucking bad commentary about it, he backed out because he didn't want to have to lose his position as #1 late night show news host because he fought for some Democratic candidate or Democratic National Committee employer. You know what I mean? Like, he looks at it like if it was a Republican one, maybe. Clinton body count adds 5 in 6 weeks. Boy, I just said Clinton body count. I'm definitely not getting paid. Anyway, so Victor Thorne, let's talk about him because that's what we're here to talk about. All the people who died in the 6 weeks while Hillary Clinton had to hurry up and clean up because she realized she was going to lose. She knew she was going to lose. The poll said she was going to lose, and she got the people who, CNN, MSNBC, and NBC. She got all them to try telling you, don't believe what you see. The polls are being tricked by people who aren't registered to vote. The numbers don't add up with the amount of people who are registered to vote conservative. Blah blah blah. There was all these things they were trying to tell us to make us feel like this was someone's fault that Hillary lost, other than Hillary. So anyway, Victor Thorne, a 54-year-old Clinton researcher. Victor Thorne wrote 4 books. I don't remember them right now. But he literally wrote in his book, if anyone tells you I committed suicide, don't believe him. I would never commit suicide. Well, he was found with a gunshot wound on a mountaintop near his home. Yep. He was the one that wrote a book on Bill Clinton running drugs in Arkansas and 2 boys being killed on a train tracks because of it, during it, with it, whatever. And it is during Hillary Clinton's run for president, and it made her look bad. She had to get rid of Victor Thorne. He knew too much. The very next day, get this. This gets creepy, okay? Because these suddenly people who are insignificant but yet significant start dropping like flies. Like Sean Lucas, a prominent lawyer who on social media and a video delivered a subpoena to Debbie Wasserman Schultz in a class action lawsuit on the primaries being rigged against Bernie Sanders, which I totally agree happened. I watched it all go down. I saw the information myself, and it was Hillary Clinton stole the primaries from Bernie Sanders 150%. It was rigged. Okay? This guy goes to file a class action lawsuit against Bernie Sanders and was found dead, face down on his bathroom floor. Medical examiners tried to say it was a heart attack, but his girlfriend said he was in perfect health. Let me not remind you, our CIA has created a heart attack gun. If you have not seen the heart attack gun, I will show you right now. There it is. Senator Frank Church during the church meeting, the only public hearings that have ever actually released information on the FBI, on the CIA, on their dirty, nasty, underhanded ways of doing things, and not only that, but the pedophilia and the other stuff too. Anyway, the heart attack gun fired a dart made of frozen shellfish toxins that would enter the target's bloodstream and kill them in mere minutes without leaving a trace. And when the autopsy was done, it would look like the person literally had a heart attack. And here's the lady who created it. There's the video. I don't know if they're going to show us the video. But they did it because they were trying to kill Castro. This is her. Her name is Mary Embry. Researcher was asked to find untraceable poison for a range of uses, including a heart attack gun. She came up with it. So you can be a citizen and be dead of a heart attack and have no other traces of what truly happened. Not even a needle prick, not even, because the needle on the dart is literally made of frozen water. Once it enters your arm, it melts. There's no needle left behind. There's no dart left behind. There's nothing. It's gone. It melts in. The shellfish toxin kills you. You have a heart attack. It's over. Gun is revealed. Sidney Gottlieb of MK Ultra directed Nathan Gordon to turn over the shellfish stockpile to Army researchers, but it was ignored. The heart attack gun may have seemed like an outlandish idea from a spy novel, but the CIA had reason to believe it would work perfectly. After all, KGB hitman had used a similar cruder weapon with success not once but twice in 1957 and 1959. It had been tested on animals and prisoners to great effect, along with numbers. That means they're all dead, animals and prisoners, because it killed all of them. If it said great effect. So along with another MK Ultra nominee NAOMI creations, the heart attack gun may never be detected if not for a growing awareness of illegal activities carried out by the United States intelligence community. I'll say it again. This would never have been known if a growing awareness from the people, you, me, what we're doing right here, right now, when I'm me telling you about Seth Rich. I'm giving you the information. So me telling you is making a growing awareness. You telling someone else about it and not talking about the goddamn Pelosi attack. Talk about this instead, because this is way more important. And they're hoping that you don't look at this right now. Because every time Seth Rich's name comes up, it goes viral. So as soon as people actually start paying attention, there will be a growing awareness. So anyway, that's that. Go back here real quick. A guy named Seymour Hersh. He got in with pedestrian. Hang on. Let me just see something.
About the kid, I'll tell you what I know. What I know comes off an FBI report.
Okay,
Don't ask me how you can.
Hold on. Okay, so Seymour Hersh is a very famous journalist. He confirmed Seth Rich had contacted WikiLeaks with sample emails from a leak. Hersh cites an FBA document that he got from a source as proof. Listen.
About the kid, I'll tell you what I know. What I know comes off an FBI report. Don't ask me how you can figure out I've been around long enough. The kid gets, I don't think he was murdered. I don't think he was murdered because of what he knew. The kid's a nice boy, 27. He was not an IT expert, but he learned stuff. He was a data programmer, but he learned stuff. And so he's living on one street, he's living in a very rough neighborhood. And in the exact area where he'd been, there've been about 10, I'm sure you know this, there've been about 8 or 9 or 10 violent stuff.
They call it a nice neighborhood.
Most of them with somebody brandishing a gun. And the kid's hands, I'm telling you, I'm sure you know it, his hands were marked up. The cops concluded he fought off the people, tried to run, and they shot him twice in the back with a .22, small caliber. And then the kids that did it ran. They got scared, didn't take his role. Okay, so what the cops do then, and here's what nobody knows, I'm telling you. Now, maybe you know something about it. When you have a death like that, DC cops, if you're dead, you generally don't just go, you have to find out what's going on. You have to get to the kid's apartment and see what you can find. If he's dead, you don't need a warrant, but most cops get a warrant because they don't know if the guy has a roommate. You need a warrant, so they get a warrant. I'm just telling you, there is such a thing. They go in the house and they can't do much with his computer, it's password. The cops don't know much about it, so the DC cops, they have a cyber unit in DC, and they're more sophisticated. They come and look at it. The idea is maybe he's had a series of exchanges with somebody who says, "I'm going to kill you, motherfucker," over a girl, and they can't get in. The cyber guys do a little better, but they can't make sense of it. So they call the FBI cyber unit. The DC unit, the Washington field office, is a hot shit unit. The guy running the Washington field office, he's like a 3-star at an army base. He's ready looking for 4. You know what I mean? He's going to go with a top job. There's a cyber unit there that's excellent. What you get in a warrant, the public information you get in a warrant doesn't include. It does not include the affidavit underlying why you're going in, what the reasons are. That's almost never available on. I can tell you that the existence of a warrant is a public document 99% of the time. So they, on the same warrant, they call in the Fed. The Feds get through, and here's what they find. This is according to the FBI report. What they find is he makes first of all, you have to know some basic facts. One of the basic facts is there's no DNC or Podesta email that exists beyond May 21st, 22nd. It's the last email for either one of those groups. And so what the report says that sometime in late spring, we're talking about June, summer's in June 21st. Late spring would be after, I presume, I don't know. I just say it says late spring, early summer. He makes contact with WikiLeaks. That's in his computer, and he makes contact. Now, I have to be careful because I met Julian in Europe, 10, 12 years. I stay the fuck away from people like that. And he's invited me, and when I'm in London, I always get a message, come see me as the Ecuadorian ambassador, and says, "Oh, fuck you, I'm going there." I've got enough trouble without getting photographed by every fucking age. He's under total surveillance by everybody. But anyway, they found what he had done. He had submitted a series of documents, of emails, some juicy emails from the DNC. And, by the way, all this shit about the DNC, whether hacked or wasn't hacked, but whatever happened, the Democrats themselves wrote this shit. You know what I mean? All I know is that he offered a sample, an extensive sample, I'm sure dozens of emails, and said, "I want money." That later, WikiLeaks did get the password. He had a Dropbox, a protected Dropbox, which isn't hard to do. I mean, you don't have to be a wizard, IT wizard. He was certainly, he's not a dumb kid. They got access to the Dropbox. He also, this is also in the FDA report, he also let people know with whom he was dealing. And I don't know how he dealt. I'll tell you about WikiLeaks in a second. I don't know how he dealt with the WikiLeaks, the mechanism. But he also, the word was passed according to the FBI report. I also shared this box with a couple of friends. So if anything happens to me, it's not going to solve your problem. Okay? I don't know what that means. I don't know whether he was, anyway. But WikiLeaks got access, and before he was killed, I can tell you right now, Brennan's an asshole. I've known all these people for years. Clapper's sort of a better guy, but not rocket scientist. The NSA guy is a fucking moron. And the trouble with all those guys is that the only way they're going to make it to a board or two and get, hired by SAIC to deliver some fat cat contracts is if Hillary stayed in. With Trump, they're gone. They're done. They're going to live on their pension. They're not going to make it. And I got to tell you, guys in that job, they don't want to live on their pension. They want to be on boards like they're make $600,000 for going to 4 visits. I have somebody on the inside. I've been around a long time and I read a lot of stuff. I have somebody inside who will go and read a file for me. This person is unbelievably accurate and careful. He's a very high level guy. He'll do a favor. You're just going to have to trust me. I have what they call it in my business, long-form journalism. I have a narrative of how that whole fucking thing began. It's a Brennan operation. It was an American disinformation, and the fucking president. At one point, when they even started telling the press, they were back briefing the press. The head of the NSA was going and telling the press, this fucking cocksucker Rogers was telling the press that we even know who in the GRU, the Russian military intelligence service, leaked it. I mean, all bullshit. They were telling these two. I worked at the New York Times for fucking years, and show the fucking New York Times that they have smart guys, but they're totally beholden on sources. If the president or the head of the CIA tells them something, they actually believe. I was hired at the Times to write about it, to go after the war, in the Vietnam War in '72, because they were just locked in. So that's what the Times is. These guys run the fucking Times. And Trump's not wrong. I mean, I wish he would calm down and have a better press secretary. They don't have to be so. Trump's not wrong to think they all fucking lied about him. I can tell you right now.
Okay. That's the second conversation that took place out of 3. There's one before it and one after it. If you want to look them up, they were put in Seth Rich audio by Cassandra Fairbanks or Big League Politics. That's who got this breaking story with Seymour Hersh, who is like a Washington Post, New York Times Pulitzer Prize winning journalist. This man has been known. He used to write during the Vietnam War. Okay, that's how far back this man goes. So, 66 years they want, guys. 66 years. So, as I said, here's Hillary blaming, WikiLeaks again for James Comey. That's the head of the FBI. Sexist electoral system. Oh, number 4, WikiLeaks. New York Magazine reports Clinton thinks she underestimated WikiLeaks and the impact that it had because I thought it was so silly, she said. Those emails, them hacked emails dripped over weeks, said Clinton, were innocuous, boring, and inconsequential. No, they were in code, and they were pedophilic and satanic and many other disgusting things. We found that out because it's the FBI's code for pedophilia. Bye, Frankenbeans. Anyway, here we go. CIA asked court to keep interrogation records secret. This is Leon Panetta interrogation records of Al Qaeda. This is where we tortured terrorists to get information for the war, and what we got, whatever information we got out of them, of course, we sent our soldiers off, and they said that 97% of the information that was gathered from tortured soldiers and people during the Iraq War and Afghanistan War was completely bullshit. When you have been tortured for days and days and days, you will say anything. You will give them anything. You find out what it is they want and you give it to them because you're so broken. And that's what was happening. These people had no true loyalty, and they would do anything to get out, from that torture. And they did. They said and did anything. But that information we'll never know because the CIA asked the courts to lock it up forever because it could cause, exceptionally grave damage to national security. This man, Leon Panetta, he's not, he may have a job because Biden's in office. I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up and see if Biden's got him working somewhere. But Obama had him working in something to do with the war. And wow, this is a sick man. He's the one that opened black sites in Chicago. Anyway, last but not least, like I told you, the CIA went gun. I just want you to understand that it does happen, and it will happen, and it will continue to happen if you and I don't talk about it. If you and I, hang on, let me come back to here. There we go. Hi, guys. Wait a minute. Hang on. Right? Shift layout. Okay, let me see if we go back. There we go. Okay. If you and I don't talk about this, then what happens is the same thing that's always happened. We get brushed off to the side and then buried by the next bullshit pile of whatever Pelosi attack or whatever happens in the moment, because we start to get a little bit loud about something they don't want us to talk about. So they squash us with something else. No, we have to just keep on talking. And that's what I say with this whole hate speech. There's no hate speech. But in the same, what people call hate, I say what the answer to hate speech is more speech. If you say something hateful to me, I'm not going to sit there and say nothing. I'm going to use my power of free speech to say something back. And if a member of parliament or, Congress or any government says something hateful, I'm going to use the power God given to me, free speech, my First Amendment, to say something back. That's the beautiful thing about being born in America, right? I thought that I can get on here and tell you about Seth Rich being killed and him being the WikiLeaks leaker during the 2016 election that Hillary Clinton lost because of those emails and because of his taking the DNC data for Bernie, because he was so dedicated. This was Seth's way of letting us know. This was Seth's way of saying to us, look, I was here. I had something really, really powerful that I needed to share with you. And I'm not here now, but I need you to keep talking about me. I need you to keep saying, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Because Seth Rich, he was an important person. And he is an important person. And he will forever be an important person. And the more we say his name, the better. And we are entitled to those records. As an American, we are entitled to those records. That is what the Freedom of Information Act allows us. But yet, the courts will, or the people will take the FBI, in this case, but CIA, FBI, whatever, will go to a court and say, it's going to take us 66 years to get through this information. It's going to take us 66 years to release what's on this laptop. That's bullshit. Say his name, Seth Rich. Seth Rich is the reason we didn't have 4 years of Hillary Clinton, thank God, or 8 years, because best believe we would still be in a war created by Hillary Clinton and her cronies. Sorry, I had to go. We would still be in a war by Hillary Clinton and her cronies right now. Or not maybe, if she had managed to take office in 2016. We were already at rock bottom when Obama was leaving office, economically, spiritually, physically, mentally. We couldn't deal with 4 or 8 years of Hillary Clinton. Thank God for Seth Rich. Say his name, because that's what's really important, I guess. That's what I want to let you know. All right? Thank you for coming. Love you all. Talk to you soon.